Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday, April 21st, 1926 regular meeting of the Clay Township Board.
Hey, Doug, it's 2026.
I said 2026.
You said 1926.
Okay, cut, start over. I know, I didn't have my glasses on. She had to give me glasses.
It's the 100th anniversary.
Did I say that? Oh, my God. Okay. Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday, April 21st, 2026 regular meeting of the Clay Township Board. At this time, I ask everyone to stand and for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks.
Okay, the next item is public comments. Anybody out there like to step to the microphone for public comment? Seeing none, then we will move on to a special presentation by Michael Klitzing of the Carmel Clay Parks. Michael?
Doug, thank you very much. Members of the board, Trustee Hensel, it's my honor to provide sort of an overview. I wanted to give you an update of a variety of projects as well as a quick recap of 2025. Thankfully, it's not 1926 because we would not have been created yet a few years after that. But as we celebrate our 35th anniversary this year, okay, and my computer continues to want to be a pain. So as we celebrate our 35th anniversary this year, we're pleased as of last year, we now have 710 acres of parkland within Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation. That includes 18 parks, 5 greenways. Since I became director in 2019, we've actually added 170 acres. Also, the asset value of your park system is now approximately $410 million, $285 million of which is built assets. So the buildings, all the infrastructure that we've created significantly with funding from Clay Township. Another thing, the 700 number is also approximately the number of employees that we have at peak employment during summer. So to put that into perspective, the city of Carmel in December of 2025 had 739 employees. We're around that same number. The only difference is, of course, the city relies largely on full-time employees with a few part-times and seasonals. We are more heavily focused on part-time and seasonal employees with about 85 full-time. Additionally, last year, our cost recovery rate for Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation was 74%. So to put that in perspective and how we calculate cost recovery, if you take all the revenues that we generate and divide it by our operating expenses, that gives you a percentage, cost recovery. Ours was 74%. The national average, according to the National Recreational Park Association for last year, was 27%. And to dial in just a little bit more, if you look at just traditional park systems, so those that are part of a city, town, or village, the actual cost recovery rate drops to 24.9%. So the model that we've created here in Carmel and Clay Township is definitely leading the industry as far as our efficiency of operations, as well as our capacity to generate our own revenue to cover our operations, making it a very highly efficient park system. Last year, we had about $14.2 million in revenues and $19.5 million in expenses. The other thing with that 74%, that's real close to the amount, if you take our 710 acres of parkland, about 80%, a little more than the 74%, are actually in some type of natural state. So that could be woods, that could be prairies, that could be some type of water source, the river, ponds, what have you, which is also a pretty high percentage for a municipal park system. It's part of the reason that distinguishes us, because we have a lot of nature in our parks and creates that respite within a developing and growing community. And then 6.3 million is the number of estimated visitors that we had to Carmel Parks last year. So again, to put that into perspective, if we were a national park, we would be the second most visited national park in the country. Pretty much ahead of Zion and Grand Canyon National Parks, which had 4.9 million. And that's pretty significant. Now, that doesn't mean that we had 6.3 million unique individuals come to our parks. We have a lot of people that come many times throughout the course of the year, but you know, that's a lot of pressure on our park system. That's a lot of usage, which also means that it's very important for us to maintain our parks at the highest level and to do capital repairs and replacements, because when you have that many people using your facilities, you know, there's a lot of wear and tear. So we're very proud of the reinvestment we've made in the park system to be able to attract so many visitors to the parks. So last year, a couple of our big capital project highlights, probably the biggest one was the Burr Oak Bridge, which was dedicated on October 20th, and thank you for being present for that incredible event. It was an $11.3 million project, and certainly would not have been possible without Clay Township, which contributed $5 million towards the development of that bridge. Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation contributed an additional $3 million, and our other funding partners were Hamilton County, Delaware Township, and the city of Fishers. So we're really proud of that. It's already a very popular amenity. It connects the greenway networks between Carmel and Fishers, connects our Hazel Landing Park to Fishers Heritage Park and their new White River Park, creating just an incredible destination. What's also special about that bridge is it's effectively at the 106th Street alignment, and when you take into account the perimeter trails that Carmel and Fishers and Zionsville has, it's basically connecting those three communities and serves as a connection between our Monon Greenway, Fishers Nickel Plate Trail, and Zionsville's Big Four Rail Trail. And of course, those extend further north and south. So definitely a major link that was made possible because of this bridge. The other bigger project that we opened last year was our Monon Station, which is our indoor playground at the Monon Community Center. And this is a space that we basically merged our former on-site babysitting service. So people that have memberships can check their kids in here, or if they have day passes, you can also check your kids in here. And that was one of the last public spaces in the facility that we had not renovated since the facility opened in 2007. And immediately next door to it was what was then a multi-purpose room, was originally constructed as a cafe. The cafe was not particularly successful, so we converted it to a multi-purpose room, which served a viable function for a number of years. But as we moved more and more of our programming into the east building, because of the wonky shape of the space, it became an underutilized space again. And in order for us to achieve our high cost recovery rates, we're always looking at underperforming spaces and had identified this space as such. So the other thing that we were hoping to accomplish with the indoor playground is, you know, we have a very flexible program to allow people to have memberships to the Monon Community Center and the water park. If you have a membership to one, you have a membership to both. And what we see with our memberships is as you get into the fall, and especially the October, our memberships rise. And of course, you have New Year's resolution, and it peaks around that time. And then beginning around March, April, it starts going down a little bit. And then summer comes, and the kids get out of school, and beginning in June, you see that rise again. And it peaks in July and early August, and then it sort of cycles that same peak and valley. And to borrow a COVID term, which I don't usually like doing, but what we'd like to do is flatten that membership curve. Not get rid of the peaks, but rise the valleys. Because what that allows us to do is, one, we're serving more people, which of course is our number one goal, but two, the more memberships that we can have during those lower use times, the more revenue that we're generating, and we know that that revenue drops right to the bottom line. So what we felt is by creating a new indoor playground to complement the incredible playgrounds we have throughout the park system, that it could help with that. And it looks like the stats are supporting that conclusion. So in January of 2024, January of 25, before we opened, compared to January of this year, we witnessed a 14.4% increase in our household memberships, which are predominantly serving families. So again, we saw that pretty significant bump, which again is increasing our revenues, increasing the number of people, and doing exactly what we hoped it would do. So we have a number of capital projects, several of them which are related to funding that we're closing out from the Clay Township Impact Program and the various bond programs. Of course, the bridge was a big component of it. There's a few dollars that we're finishing up and working with some dollars that we're receiving from the city of Carmel. We are going to be repaving actually not repaving, we're going to be paving the entry drive into Hazel Landing Park, repaving the parking lot at the end closest to the river where our canoe kayak launch is. So that's going to be happening this year. Also pleased to report that we received a $400,000 grant through the Indiana Department of Natural Resources Indiana Trails Program grant program. And what that's going to allow us to do is extend and create the first leg of the White River Greenway south of 116th Street. So we're going to start at the new trail that connects to the bridge, go south to where approximately the solar field is that Carmel Utilities put in. All city property that's now under management agreement with Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation. So it's going to be approximately a $1.8 million project, but a significant portion of that, not all of it by any means, but a significant portion is being funded with grant dollars from the state. Another thing that was very closely related to funding that we received from Clay Township, we're pleased to announce that the grand opening of the Kawachi Nagano Japanese Garden will be Sunday, May 3rd at noon. We certainly welcome all of you to join us for that pretty special event. And just to put it a little bit in perspective, the big part that we're focused on right now was the renovation of the original garden closest to City Hall and the parking lot there. And sort of to the right, you can kind of see that area. And this was a photo that I took yesterday. It is absolutely stunning. HK, our designer, was out there yesterday with his teams. They'll be departing on Thursday. So they've been adding a little bit more landscaping out there, but it is absolutely stunning. And in 3 years, as everything matures, it's going to be even more stunning. So truly a gem within the community. It already was one before renovation, but we took it up like 2,000 layers. And it's just an incredible place to just go and relax and just enjoy a beautiful space. Also, with funding that we're receiving from the city of Carmel, we'll begin doing some work on the southern ponds. It's not going to look like initially the northern pond that we just renovated. What our first goal is to do is put in the waterfall that was envisioned in between the two areas, the old area and the new area. So that will be going in, and we also will be putting in a trail that connects to the existing trail network within the garden and to the zigzag bridge, so that we're starting to bring some things. There'll be some landscaping, but I want to stress it's not going to look in this next phase. This is the preliminary phase to allow the public to begin to use it. We'll certainly need more funding down the road to bring it to the same standard as the existing garden. But that will at least make that more feel like a park as opposed to a stormwater storage area. We're also excited that we are going to begin phase 1 development of Bear Creek Park. Our goal is to break ground before the end of this year, and it will likely take about 1.5 years once we break ground to develop this park. But thanks to funding from $6.2 million of funding from the city of Carmel, matched by about $1.8 million of park impact fees from the park board, we're able to do phase 1 development. And what that's going to include, a trail network, some pickleball courts, multi-use sports courts, a playground, this incredible overlook that will look over a valley that is on the north side of Bear Creek. Some additional views of that. You can see sort of in the middle bottom on the left side illustration, you see almost looks like close to a figure 8. That's going to be a boardwalk system that goes to that overlook that give that vista down the valley. You're going to be in the trees, and as the trees continue to grow, you'll be in the trunks. So it's going to be a really cool experience. The architectural style is almost a Pacific Northwest, but of course we're in Northwest Carmel, so I'm calling it Carmel Northwest architectural style. But it's going to be an incredible space. Additionally, we're going to have a new playground that's wrapped into that. Here's a conceptual illustration of what that's going to look like, but it's going to be on par with all the other quality playgrounds that we have throughout the park system and create a much needed place for families to enjoy in Northwest Clay. We also, with funding from the City of Carmel through their infrastructure bond program, will be creating a new Veterans Park. So this is an area that is right north of the current VFW post, just east of Old Meridian and west of Carmel Middle School. This is a joint venture in many ways with the Carmel Redevelopment Commission. The building that's on the west side of that property to the left of the dotted lines is going to be a multifamily restricted age facility, apartment complex, but we'll have about 1.6 acres of parkland. We are still working on the designs, and we have a steering committee meeting and also a meeting that will be making a presentation at the next Veterans Commission meeting in May. But here's a concept of what that looks like. The building that you kind of see in the corner towards the middle is the new Heron Club, the new multifamily. To the left where you see the cars and sort of a single story that's representing the VFW. The Woods is Olden Woods, which is owned by Carmel Clay Schools. But you can see the park. One of the things that we heard from the Veterans Steering Committee is that they didn't want this to look like every other Veterans Memorial. Not that there's anything wrong with other Veterans Memorial, but they wanted to have its own identity. We also have to serve some stormwater things, so that required a water component to it. And we wanted to be able to incorporate Olden Woods and the VFW and sort of connect it as a campus. So that's sort of the design intent here, sort of bringing to life some of the trails that used to be in Olden Woods. We'll continue to work with Carmel Clay Schools on that. Another variation, this is looking sort of south-southwest towards it. There'll be a more refined plaza area with shelters and some bubbling features to the right, but really going to be a pretty special place. You'll also see on the left side here kind of a bigger trail. You can see a Kubota in the middle there, which is, we needed a place to be able to service the park, so the architects here are showing where we can pull off the trail. But that will become the Veterans Greenway. That's going to go from Old Main to a new east-west greenway a little bit south of Grand Boulevard. So the blue line represents approximately where that new greenway will go. And then the first phase, Bottom Greenway, will go from effectively Old Meridian and Carmel Drive to Guilford Road and stuff. And then ultimately it'll continue to the east and connect to the Monon Greenway. The goal is basically to create some new greenway networks within the central core of the city. Autumn Greenway serves as that east-west spine. Veterans Greenway creates a new north-south greenway that's connecting our Monon corridor and all the businesses and residents that we have there with the Old Meridian corridor on and off-road connectivity. So for bicyclists, for pedestrians, it'll feel more like a Hagen-Burke experience as opposed to being on a supersized sidewalk along streets. So it'll be a much more enjoyable experience. We also are going to be developing a new pocket park at Ironwood and Smoky Row. There's a new roundabout that's going here. This is the location of the old Smoky Row Swim Club. That facility has now been removed. So we'll be starting planning efforts with that with community meetings here in May. What I've stressed to the folks that I've been talking to in that part of the community, this is not going to be a really robust park. It's going to be a pretty passive park. Again, it's a little over an acre, acre and a half, but it is less than a mile from Cary Grove. And the intent is not to have a parking lot in this park. It is really designed to be a gateway for the community in that area and serve as a walk-up park. So what that means is you're not going to have a really big playground. You're certainly not going to have a splash pad there because that would drive a lot of folks in there, and we don't want to overwhelm the neighborhood. But it will be a nice resource for those neighbors. We also are receiving some funding from the city to do some enhanced landscaping along the White River Greenway North. That should be opening up in early May, the actual greenway. The landscape will go in probably this fall based on this time frame, just because the two good windows for planting are spring and fall, and we're getting really close to the hot weather, which is not the most ideal time to have landscape go in. But thanks to an easement that we received from Conner Prairie, we were able to move the new trail a little bit further away from River Road, and the funding from the city is going to allow us to provide a heavier landscaping in between the road and the trail. So I want it to feel more like a greenway as opposed to a perimeter trail, because those are very different types of experiences. The city also is providing us $150,000 to hopefully relocate the historic Blue School, which is on 106th Street next to St. Elizabeth Seton, just to the south there. This was actually a school that was constructed by Delaware Township when Delaware Township still had effort or jurisdiction on the west side of White River. It's constructed around 1908, 1913. I'm going off the top of my head, which isn't always the best thing. But the Catholic Church has recently purchased that property. They would like the building to go. There is an interest in trying to save that. So that's where it is currently, and the intention is to move it into Gray Road Park. That may not be the official designation, but that was just one of the spaces that looks like it could fit. So we'll figure that out, but keep that as a community resource and preserve a little bit of Carmel and Clay Township history. We are also getting very close. In July, we'll be opening Phase 3 of Monon Boulevard, which goes from where it currently ends to City Center. One of the key signature pieces is this new playground structure, which is just north of City Center Drive. Here's an illustration of that entire first block. The building to the right isn't being constructed right now. That was a placeholder for an envisioned food hall. What actually goes there is to be determined, but that's beyond Parks jurisdiction. But it's going to be an incredible space, and that was a photo of the playground yesterday. The one tower is about the left tower, the west tower is about 40 foot tall. The bridge between the two towers is also 40 feet. And yes, I've already gone down the curlicue slide. So, but the reason that we had to go so tall and have the bridge between the towers is that there is a major Duke transmission line that goes underneath it. So we had to get above it and away from it. So that drove the design a little bit, but creates truly a marquee playground experience there. What I also like about this particular design is you can kind of see in the one corner closest to me, and it says the word Monon. That's actually a little wall. There's a landscaping buffer there. It creates more of a border between the Monon Greenway and the play experience. So that's something that from the original design that the city did for the existing playground a little bit further north. They're right on top of each other, and that's always not been the most ideal situation in my assessment. So working with the designers, because of course for phase 1 and 2, Parks was not involved in the design, but we were involved in the construction. So there were some things that we couldn't implement changes for. This one, the city involved us from the initial design. So it has a little bit more of our influence to provide what we think is a more conducive experience for families and their kids. We're also excited. We are going to be adding a floating boardwalk in Founders Park. So that will be happening still late spring, early summer. But it'll connect into the existing greenway network, or not greenway, trail network within the park, and really invite the public to the pond that's in Founders Park for the first time. There's not been, you can get to it. There's some created trails by the public, but not a really great experience to get to that water. This is a old quarry site, and it does serve stormwater experiences, so you will see variations in the height of the water there. To account for that, we're actually doing a floating boardwalk. And then at the ends, it will, except for the most extreme circumstances, so probably about 98 to 99% of the time, this boardwalk system will always be in compliance with ADA guidelines. During extreme weather events, the ramps might become a little bit steeper. But what we didn't want is either a boardwalk system that at times is flooded or is so far up in the sky that it feels uncomfortable. So this was a system that we were able to identify that I think will be well enjoyed. It has some nodes in it where people can easily fish in there as well. Not officially stocked, but we know there's fish in there, and we hope to work with DNR to get this better stocked. Not a new project, but a restoration project. The existing boardwalk in Central Park will be replaced. We've done some preliminary work with that, but either this spring or fall, depending on, we don't want the work occurring in the middle of summer. So if we can't get it done yet this spring, we'll push it to the fall. But we'll be replacing the existing boardwalk. When it's done, it'll look substantially similar to what it is, but the understructure, not the helical piers that are going into the ground, but the frame underneath the boardwalk is starting to fail. It's close to 20 years old and at end of life. We're creating the system is actually going to be a steel system, should have a 100-year lifespan, so it'll last longer. It'll have the same type of pine boards on top. That will have to be replaced before 100 years, but the structure itself will have a longer life and continue to provide this great amenity to the public. Last year, another thing that we did is we purchased the historic Moffett House, which is along River Road and sort of the blue space up there, immediately adjacent to River Heritage Park. The Moffett House was constructed in 1827, so it'll be 200 years old next year. It is the second oldest brick structure in Hamilton County, certainly one of the oldest homes in the city of Carmel and Clay Township. We were added 3.22 acres squared off the park, as you can see there. Ultimately gives us the opportunity to create maybe a separate entry into River Heritage Park down the road, as well as use the house for camps or other programming purposes. We're currently working with Ball State University and their architectural program. They're doing a deep dive assessment, a historical assessment of the park, of the building, excuse me, to tell us a little bit more about the history, as well as guide us on the things that we need to do to make sure that we're preserving it. They'll also provide us documentation that if we determine it's advantageous for us to do so, we would be able to register the building on the National Register of Historic Places. Now, with that registry becomes more restrictions, so we have to make an assessment. Are the grant opportunities that sometimes comes with being on the National Register worth it compared to the restrictions that also come with it? So that's an assessment we'll make down the road, but we want to make sure that we're preserving this important history of the community. And then another project that we are waiting on funding for, but hope to be able to implement maybe as soon as next year, is expansion of the playground in West Park. So West Park obviously is one of our busiest parks, currently our only park on the west side of Meridian until Bear Creek opens. But the playground, when we constructed the renovated playground, again, thanks to funding from Clay Township, we knew that it was not as large as we would like it. The goal was always to, and the master plan showed, extending that playground to the west side of the splash pad, the canyon valley that's there. So this is a shovel-ready project. As soon as the RCI site redevelops, which is working its way through, we will be receiving approximately $1.9 million in park impact fees. So that will help fund that. We also are pursuing a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant from the Indiana Department of Natural Resources for this project. We're going to be asking for $1 million. The project is going to be a little over $2 million, probably close to 2.5 when all is said and done. So between the impact fees as well as hopefully a LWCF grant, we'll be able to make this project a reality in the near future. And then I also wanted to provide a little bit of update of some exciting things that will be happening on the east side, south of 100, well, basically between 116th and 106th Street near the river. So if you look at our current park holdings in that approximate area, we have a little over 191 acres of existing parkland between Hazel Landing, Founders Park, Flowing Well, and River Heritage Park. If you add in the property that is owned by the city of Carmel and managed by the Carmel Dads Club, there's about 24 acres for Gray Road Park, which is at 106th and Gray Road. Within the next 2 years, we will be getting the Martin Marietta Quarry. That is a sand and gravel pit, about 185 acres. So you can sort of see how this is all starting to fill in and create a huge park complex. We also are working with Tom Crowley, who owns about 58 acres of property on the east and west sides on a right of first refusal. We're just working out the final details of that, but that would allow us to purchase his property should he decide to sell anytime within the next 20 years. So what's really powerful about that is, one, it completely infills from 106th to 116th Street, that property. It creates a little bit more connectivity between the existing components of remote Hazel Landing Park, not currently open to the public, so it helps connect those together. And then what's also nice is in between those two purple partials on both sides of River Road is the bridge over Cool Creek. Well, Tom already has a trail that goes underneath there to connect his properties. So what that would allow us to do is effectively connect all the parkland on the east side of River Road next to the river to all the parkland along in the quarry area, creating that separated grade crossing, making it safer to cross Hazeldale Parkway. One of the things that we've also worked out, sort of a deal between Tom and Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation and the Carmel Historical Commission, is there used to be just north of 106th Street the Wise House. And what has happened is that house has been moved to the corner of the quarry. And Mr. Crowley is actually going to be, at his sole expense, renovating that house, that historic house, which is one of the older houses here in Carmel. And in 20 years, that will then become a park asset. So it'll be completely renovated within the park, but at his expense. Sort of that was the deal to get the right of first refusal. Additionally, Martin Marietta gave him a little bit bigger easement into the quarry, so it provides a little bit more separation while he's in his home from the park area. And then another thing that we're currently working on, we've completed a feasibility study for a new operations and administration center for Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation. For our last 3 5-year comprehensive Parks and Recreation master plans, it's identified the need for a new maintenance compound for Carmel Clay Parks. I like saying that we're one of the best park systems in the country with one of the worst maintenance compounds. Our staff does a phenomenal job with the facilities that we have, but we are literally bursting at the seams. Maintenance is based out of what used to be the Ward House. We've got 20 full-time employees in there. Now, of course, there are a lot of times out, but we've literally used every inch of that building. It doesn't have necessarily the best place for keeping our inventory that we need. We've cobbled together the old horse barn and the old pool house and added some lean-tos out there to complement it, but it really is an inefficient operation. Additionally, our administrative offices in the old Estridge house, not the most efficient use of space. We know the roof is at the end of life. And over the next 5 years, there's over $750,000 of capital repairs and replacements that our asset management plan identifies that all of these facilities need. So it's getting to the point where we're throwing good money out of outdated facilities that are inefficient and a park system that continues to grow and out of space. So we've worked with an engineering and architecture firm to conceptualize how could we re-envision that space, creating a consolidated building for administration and maintenance, creating better facilities on it, making the parking lot that's for the dog park actually make sense, because if you go there, it's a little wonky because it's always envisioned that we would expand that parking lot. And this is sort of what we've come up as a general concept for that. It's not cheap. It's current estimates are around $7 million. I would anticipate with inflationary factors, it's going to be somewhere between $7 and $8 million. But this is one of the things that I'm identifying as one of our top priorities as we move forward. We've invested a lot in improving and expanding our park system. We have not necessarily invested in creating the resources for our behind-the-scenes staff to be able to function properly. So this is one of those things where it's not the most sexy project. Everyone prefers, myself included, to create that new park, to be able to provide that new playground. But we're at a point where we really need to invest in the support structure we need to be successful. So you'll hear me talk about this a little bit more, but I wanted to at least introduce the idea that we are exploring that now. So I also like talking a little bit about the importance of Clay Township. One, I'm very thankful that the General Assembly ultimately adopted the Senate version of the bills that we're looking at reorganization for townships, because that preserved Clay Township. Based on the point system, we're in great shape here. My concern is that I'm hopeful that they got it out of their systems and aren't going to revisit townships, but I'm not 100% optimistic that that's the case. I think they may revisit sooner than later. So I think why that is, one, I think Clay Township does an incredible job with its responsibilities. And of course, one of the responsibilities is the park system, and the role that it's played in Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation and creating the park system that we as a community have today would not be possible without the township. So just doing a snapshot for 5 years between 2019 and 2023, for every dollar that we received in capital development from Clay Township, we received less than 3 cents from the city of Carmel. So to put real numbers behind that, $56.2 million from Clay Township, $1.5 million from the city of Carmel. If you add in our impact fees, that added an additional 11 cents for every dollar that was invested by Clay Township. Now, the city has provided some additional funding over the last couple years through their infrastructure bond program passed in 2024 to the tune of close to $30 million. But again, we wouldn't have the park system that we have today without Clay Township. And we know that we have a number of needs. So based on our asset management plan, so I told you of the asset value, the almost $285 million in capital assets we have in the park system today. We have an asset management plan. We can tell you by year approximately how much dollars we're going to need to repair or do major capital repairs or replacements to those infrastructures. And looking for the park system alone, not including the Monon Community Center and Water Park, we have about $8.8 million of capital needs for those. Things like replacing Central Park Drive East, repaving that. If you've gone down that, it's not in the best shape and is certainly approaching end of life. Replacing HVA systems, replacing the shelter roof and some of the infrastructure at Founders Park. All things that are normal things, but we know within a year or so when we should anticipate needing those capital repairs. I do believe all these numbers are conservative. Hopefully we'll be able to do it a little bit less. Hopefully we have been able to extend the life, so maybe these bump by a year or two, but for planning purposes, they give us a good understanding. Like I said, there's about $750,000 of capital repairs and replacements that we need for the administrative office and existing park and natural resource facilities. So adding those up, it's about 9.6. Looking exclusively at the community center and water park, we have another about $8.3 million of capital repairs and replacements. Our fire alarm and standpipe system is anticipated to be at end of life next year. In 2030, the big expense is going to be replacing the roof on the system. In 29, the piping system for our pools. That's when that's expected to be at end of life, so about 2.5. So big dollar numbers that we're going to have to take a look at. And then that's not counting the new things. Talked about the Operation and Administration Center, which is between $7 and $8 million. For the Quarry Park, we'll ultimately need to master plan it. We're structuring it. I actually need to get a hold of Jack Berry. He reached out to me earlier this week. But the idea is that Gray Road Park ultimately gets integrated into the Quarry Park. Doesn't mean that the Dad's Club is relocated from that, the fields stay. But the idea is that instead of the Dad's Club having to take care of the public park areas, that falls to the park system. Well, we know the playground is at end of life. And, we've been trying to push that out so that maybe it can fall under us instead of the Dad's Club having to incur that expense. But we're real close to that happening now. So just to take care of the master plan and new playground and maybe just begin some repairs there, probably $2 million on the low side. Parkland acquisitions, there's a number of targeted areas. That's between 1 and 6. That's a wide range because you never know when the land's going to become available. And then subsequent phases, the next phase of Bear Creek Park, I would envision being around that $3 million plus or minus. So, just those alone, $12.5 to $21 million. I'm not asking for anything today. I'm just stating some of the realities that we need to take a look at collectively as a community, look at existing resources between our fiscal bodies, the City of Carmel and Clay Township, and also continue discussions with the General Assembly to look at viable funding mechanisms for park systems. So one of the things that I advocated for last year had some discussion. The discussions lasted almost to the very end of the session, so that meant that it wasn't a hard no. It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a hard no, is looking at the cumulative Parks and Recreation Building Fund, which both the city or township would be able to implement. But the problem is the levy for that falls within the maximum levy of the fiscal body. And both the city and the township are effectively at that maximum levy. So that it's a source, but it's not, because it's not practical to be able to implement. So what I was trying to advocate for is getting that levy for that cumulative fund to fall outside your maximum levy. There are historical precedences. Fire cumulative funds can fall out maximum levy. Airport authorities, bridges for counties, all of those can fall outside the maximum levies. So there's precedence for that. And, you know, the challenges that we have in Carmel and Clay Township for just maintaining our existing park system aren't unique. Every park system across the state has those same challenges. And what I'd like to see is a dedicated funding source that would allow at least some dollars to be able to go for those purposes. So we'll continue to have those conversations, you know, with the General Assembly still very focused on tax reform and obviously being sensitive to the ramifications to the taxpayers. We have to have those. I mean, we're working with, and I don't want to say against, but with those challenges. But they certainly create uphill battles to find new funding sources. But we're going to continue those conversations. And then I think all units of government are still trying to fully comprehend the long-term impacts of SEA 1. We've all got estimates, you know, with regard to that, but they're still dinking around with it, and I think they'll continue to dink around with it, which makes it harder and harder to project. So there's a lot that we need to assess, which creates challenges on the funding options, but you know, collectively as a community, as we have in the past, we'll have to get our minds together and figure out what makes the most sense and what really needs to be prioritized. And that's a conversation for another day, but I wanted to at least plant the seed today. With that, I'd be happy to address any questions you may have.
You have any questions?
No, I've been following this right along when I've been going out with you, and I'm so excited with the continuation and what's being done in the future. It's really exciting.
It is exciting, and you know, we are in a community that values quality of life and quality of place, and we've made significant investments collectively in that infrastructure, especially within the park system. And you know, I think our residents expect us to be good stewards of it and to make sure that, you know, I don't want to be the typical park system that builds things up and then doesn't reinvest in it, because our ability to keep the parks in a great state, and you know, these numbers that I shared on the capital repairs and replacements would be significantly larger without the funding that we received through the Clay Township Impact Program. You know, there were a number of things that were coming due or would be coming due during this time frame that we addressed with all the dollars that we received from Clay Township. So, you know, things that were going to be due around this time now aren't due for 20 years because they're in great shape. But we've got to, you know, I think the fact that we've reinvested in the parks and taken care of things gave you as a board the confidence to make that significant investment. And it also gave the folks that you serve throughout the community the trust and to be able to make that type of investment. So, you know, it is truly us all working together, and I'm incredibly thankful for Clay Township's significant role in creating this special community that we have.
Thank you very much. It's really exciting.
Well, from my standpoint, my mind's on overload of information. It's fantastic, Michael, what you showed. I mean, I am truly impressed. I didn't realize that much was going on with the parks. I mean, I'm truly amazed, and I don't know, do you have a timeline for this stuff at all?
For like the projects I
what
showed.
you just showed us.
So the projects that I showed you are all, with the exception of the operations center and West Park, those are all active projects now. So they're either in planning stages or going to be happening within the next 2 years. So we've got the dollars. We have about $40 million of active projects, capital projects going on right now. So that's everything that we had. So those things will be coming online this year over the next couple of years. Yeah.
Is that the work they're doing over on 116th Street right now, the moving of the dirt there?
No,
That's not part of it?
that's not part of it.
Oh,
No.
okay. Well, I mean, I understand you got to have maintenance.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But I'm truly impressed. And you know, there's a lot of projects I have seen, but a lot of your projects are even hidden. And people need to get out to the parks and see them.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the bridge alone is amazing over White River. That's so impressive. I was just dumbfounded when we had the ribbon cutting and what it does for us.
Exciting.
But you know, I want to thank you for your presentation, and it's something that the township, I know if we're still around, yeah, exactly, that I know the township will continue to help with the parks projects. You guys hear that? You guys hear that?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, parks are important. I think we go back to remember back in the early 2000s when we had the thing at City Hall where we found out that schools and parks were the top two. That's when I was in public safety, and I thought public safety was important. And it is, it's important. But schools and parks were the top two. And, you know, we need to continue with that. With the public safety, a really close third, okay?
I would say they're all 1A, B, and C, so.
Yeah, so, but Michael, thank you. I congratulate you on what you guys are doing there at Parks. I mean, it's very impressive. People need to get involved.
That's right.
That's the important thing. So thank you. Anybody would like to say anything? But I will be talking to you sometime here within the next week.
Sounds good.
Because I'm on overload. I really am on what I've seen.
Well, if you have any, I'm always accessible, so if you have any questions, I obviously gave you a lot of information, so feel free to reach out at any time. I'm always happy to have those conversations, and you know, it's a team effort. You know, I could not be more proud of the team we have at Carmel Clay Parks and Recreation, but you're part of the team too, and you've helped make it happen as well, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
I was
Appreciate
sitting
it.
here thinking with all the tours that we took, that there must be some way that we can advertise that and take people out in groups, even get a bus and drive around. I remember when I first moved here and they were taking us around to show us different areas, and they did it in a school bus. And if you could start that type of thing, I mean, there's so much to show, and you can't handle it personally, but there are people out there that are probably waiting to help. And we ought to advertise that and really work on that. I'd love to do that.
Well, thanks for that recommendation. And one of the things that we are doing too is we actually have videos of almost all of our parks. Some of them need updated because things are always evolving in them, but people can also go to our website and visit the park before they visit the park. So, but that's an excellent suggestion. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael.
Mm-hmm. And Paul, I'm sorry, I probably took more time than you wanted me to.
What?
I probably took more time than you wanted me to, but
Michael, anytime you come and give us information, it's always important, so it's never a matter of time.
brevity is not one of my strengths, so.
Okay, moving on, the next is approval of minutes from the February 17th, 2026 annual board meeting. So do I have a motion?
I so move.
I second it. Any discussion? None? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Oh, I'm sorry, I approve. 2-0 approved. Next item is action items. And action item 6A is resolution number 2026-04-21-01, assignment and assumption of agreement. Paul, you are the Mr. Attorney, like to explain that?
I'm going to let our attorney explain this one.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Trustee. So you heard Michael talk about the Japanese garden project. The city there's more to be done there, and the city has agreed to fund the additional improvements through the 2024 bond issue that Michael mentioned. In working with David Ford, your owner's representative or program manager, and also the Parks Department's program manager, we felt it's a delicate situation dealing with HK, as Michael said, Kurisu-san, as I refer to him. There's language issues, there's team issues, the whole works. So we felt that the easiest way for the Parks Department to assume control of that project through city funding was to assign the existing construction agreement that we have with Kurisu LLC from the township to the park board. So it's an assignment and assumption agreement that's attached to the resolution. Anything that happens before the actual assignment, any costs, et cetera, are the responsibility of the township. But after the assignment, which has already been approved by the park board and approved by you today, I'll get a signature on it, will be the park board's responsibility. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so the $110,000. Okay, so the city, on that $110,000 in this document, is that what we've paid? And anything over that, is that?
Where do you see the $110,000 reference?
On the attachment, assignment and assumption agreement for design and contraction services. It says, whereas the redevelopment authority of the city of Carmel, Indiana desires to provide additional funding for the project out of the proceeds of the $110,000.
That's 110 million, actually. Is that a typo?
Yeah, it's a typo.
Yeah, I'll fix that. Sorry. Yeah, that's why I didn't recognize the number.
Oh, okay.
So that's
Okay.
the bond issue, their 2024 bond issue that funds all kinds of projects, including a number of parks projects.
Okay.
So they've
Okay.
agreed to, that was not part of the original list of projects, but they have decided to allocate some portion of that $110 million bond issue to the
I thought we were getting off
Japanese garden.
cheap.
No. No, I think you all put close to 4 million into it at this point, and Michael, I don't know how much is left to go.
That's
I
okay.
can't tell you off the top
That's
of my
fine.
head either, but
Okay,
it'll be
just
the city's
okay.
responsibility and the park board's, actually the park board's responsibility, and then funding through the bond issue that you mentioned. And I'll fix the 110,000.
Okay. All right, so, any discussion from your standpoint? Okay, so all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Seeing none, it's approved. Motion carries 2-0. With that, do we need to make any motion as far as the 110 million?
No,
Nothing, okay.
no,
Okay.
we'll just fix that. It's just a scrivener's error.
Okay, 6B, approval of Clay Township Assistance Guidelines. Mr. Trustee?
Thank you, Mr. President. In front of you is the guidelines for this year's township assistance. This is the ones that the Hamilton County Trustee Association worked on and approved. Very minor changes in it. You know, the biggest thing is maximum food allowances and household incomes all went up and stuff like that. But everything else is pretty much same as the last several years, just a couple minor changes in it.
Okay,
That's it.
okay. Good enough. Any further discussion?
No, I read this thoroughly, I'll tell you.
Okay, so do I have an emotion?
I so move.
I second it. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 2-0. Next is 6C, approval of the Clay Township Employee Handbook.
We just updated a few things on the handbook. One of them is phone policy, the other one's credit card usages and things like that, but it just hadn't been updated or reviewed in a while, so we took time to update and change any of the things that needed to be changed in it. There's very minor changes in the old policy.
In the holidays, I've seen some changes there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we added Juneteenth and stuff, so yeah,
Right.
And Columbus Day, huh?
that was already there,
Was it?
yeah.
I didn't think it was. Okay. All righty, well, any further discussion? Motion,
I so move.
second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next order of business, information items, and we're going to start with 6A, which is Old Station 42.
Start with the old Station 42. In your packet, there's a picture of the roof. Debbie and I was at a meeting a month ago, and we hadn't been out to check the assets of the township, so Debbie and I went out and was checking on Station 42, because that's the furthest from home, and it was always the one that's sort of not an eyesore at times, but it's out there. And so Debbie and I went out there, and there's a hole in the roof, and we never knew about it, and it has been there for a while.
Was that lightning that hit
No.
that, or it just old?
No, it's the weather. What's probably happened, Doug, is if you see that weatherhead, the lines go across the drive. They came in there with a big truck maybe, and they hit those electrical lines that maybe pulled that weatherhead towards it, tore it out or whatever.
Okay, okay.
But it had been open for a long time, and so we had to get the roof repaired.
Sure.
With that being said, I approached two people. One of them was Merciful Health, who is there, and I would like to eventually dispose of this property so we don't have to worry about it, and they are willing to purchase it. I've had a gentleman go out and give me a value, what it's worth. He says between $350 and $450. Merciful Health said that they have tables, chairs, washing machines, drying machines, dryers. They repair them there. They have beds and all that stuff, and they said they can't find a place in Carmel to be able to have that. If they can't use that, then they would probably do away with that project, that amenity of Merciful Health of supplying those items. And so I've approached them on it. I've not entered into a complete agreement because they're looking to get funding for it, but I'm gonna probably ask you guys to be able to enter into an agreement sometime to sell this property to them. If not, I have a backup plan that will work out probably significantly better, and you guys would love it.
Great.
Okay, my only concern is because of the work that Merciful Health does, and they help this office so much with this, you know, what happens to them? Okay, because I know they take care of a lot of things that we don't have to deal with here, from my past experience. So, you know, whatever we can do to help them, buying it, yes, I'll go along with that. It'd be nice if they would just buy it. I'll go along with that. But other than that, if you do something else with it, we need to look out for them as much as we can. Do whatever is appropriate that we can help. I just feel that way personally.
Doug, I agree 100% from when Jane from Merciful Health came down and talked to Debbie and I mean, I really didn't know that they did all these repairs on washers and dryers and all this other things that they did there. And they got workshop and all that stuff. But I also feel if we let them use that facility, they should at least let us know when the roof was damaged.
Oh, I won't deny that at all. I would be very upset if somebody didn't tell me about that because of I mean, you look at that hole. Think of the water that's went through there.
Debbie and I have not been inside yet, and I'm afraid to go inside it.
You put Debbie up there and repair it.
I mean, I agree with you. I don't want anything to happen to Merciful Health because they do a great job. They help us a lot of things, and we help them back also with other things.
Oh, absolutely. It's two-way street.
You know, we help with the summer feed. We help with other things with them. So, it's a catch-22 all the way around for both of us.
The ideal thing was if they would buy it.
Yeah.
That's the ideal thing.
If not, I have a very good backup plan.
Okay.
I hope.
Okay.
I can't wait.
Okay, next item is 7B, update on township assistance.
You have in your packet, what we did so far year to date on our assistance. As you notice on the page 3, there's a miscellaneous of $2,400. We had a lady that was 94 years old call us for assistance. Her hot water heater was out. It had been out for almost a month. Her family could not help her. She needed some assistance, and we felt that was one of those important things that we needed to help a 94-year-old lady that's on a fixed income that had no money or anything like that.
Okay.
Year-to-date totals compared to last year, back in the banking industry, I'd be upset with the numbers going down, but in this industry, it's okay if our numbers aren't up as high, but
Right.
we're still helping the community, we're helping the people. But we're pretty busy here this month so far, so I don't see any
Okay.
going down in total expenses throughout the year.
That's good.
Okay, thank you very much. Next thing is 7C, update on Station 45.
They're remodeling Station 45 and put in individual rooms. That project, we've been in discussion now for 2 months. I have a meeting Thursday on it some more. One of the things, the concern is parking during the construction, and we're working on getting that resolved. And the other thing is they'll probably be starting work in end of May, 1st of June. The complete demo will be going on then, and it'll be probably, they try to say it's an 18-month project, but everybody knows it's going to take longer than 18 months, which, they're going to be tearing everything all out, putting in private rooms and all that stuff. But that is going to be an ongoing process. When you come by, you'll see a bunch of construction trucks out here working.
Okay. How long is it going to take them to do that, they say?
Yeah.
It said 18 months.
Oh, well, you did say that. I'm sorry.
Yep.
Probably closer to 2 years. They're also doing Station 42 and 46 also.
Making them into individual
Dorms.
beds. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I just give you a reminder? The reason that you all are even concerned with that is that the Township Building Corporation owns all the fire department stations, all of them, including headquarters. The Township leases them from the Building Corporation and pays the bond issues
Okay.
that are existing. And then there's a sublease to Carmel that says, we're subleasing this to you, you insure it, you maintain. That's why this is still an issue for the township, even though you aren't directly funding fire protection here.
When does that bond run out? It's a 20-year bond, isn't it?
The last one is 2042.
2042?
Yeah. I think.
Wow.
Funded in 2015.
This one was funded in 2015. Yeah, that'll wrap up sooner. And then our agreements with the city say that upon payoff of that particular bond issue, the station will be transferred to the city for ownership purposes. This dates back to Judy Hagan being trustee and the Shelbourne, station on Shelbourne, there were two of
Yeah,
them.
42 and 46.
Yeah, that's how we first did those many years ago.
Let me ask you something from an attorney standpoint. And maybe some people already know this, but, okay, so since we own those stations,
The building corporation owns
or
the
the
station.
building,
Yeah.
what keeps them from the city of Carmel coming back that, okay, this needs a new roof, or this needs this, or this? What keeps us out of that mess?
We have a sublease with them that requires them to fund all maintenance.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
maintenance, insurance, et
right.
cetera.
That's right.
Yeah.
I should have known that. Okay.
No, it's been a while, so that's why I brought it up, because I know there's other interested parties in the audience as well to kind of know why that is
the
even an
way it is.
issue here for the township.
Right.
Okay, 7D, ribbon cutting of the Japanese garden, May 3rd, and Michael brought that up.
Yeah, Michael brought that up. You're all invited to it. It's be up there at the gardens, and just formally getting it open now.
That's been a long in coming, hasn't it?
It's that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, to see that. But that's another one that's hidden that people, the good thing is, when July 4th Carmel Fest comes up, people will be able to see that.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be already open at that time. But that, again, another hidden jewel that people don't see.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
anyway. Okay, next thing, next meeting,
July 21st.
July 21st, 2026. So, okay. Next item, financial questions. Andy, have any?
No.
I don't have none. Board comments?
I thought it was a great meeting, and thank you again for such a wonderful show. I mean, it really shows how many places that we have that people aren't aware of. And I hope that there's some measure of getting that out, because I think it's really important.
Thank you. Michael, you've really confused me, I'll tell you.
Well,
It's amazing, even sitting on this board and being a trustee at one time and being the fire chief at one time. It's amazing what you miss if you don't visit all the departments. You know, it's amazing. And I didn't realize some of that stuff that was going to be going on. And thank you very much for bringing that up. And I definitely would like to talk to you about a few things. So that's very impressive. Mr. Trustee, any announcements?
No, not this time.
Thank you.
And before you do that, I want to.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I would just like to show this, that I made it yesterday, which it really, don't clap or anything. I went in and I learned how to make a kite, because on Saturday, we are going to have another huge, huge opportunity for the community to come out and fly kites. And last year, 600 children came, and that was really something. We should see all the people getting ready to make these. And so we had to put something on it, and I put this on it. But you can cut it on the bottom and put other colors on. They'll have a lot of fun. And our job, or my job, along with a lot of other people, is to sit there and help them make these kites so they can go out and do it, because 600 children are going to show up and they're going to want to know, where's my kite? So I just wanted to ask that if anybody sees our show before we have our Saturday meeting, to tell people this, the children will love it. And we're all prepared. We have so many different stations that they can go stations, as in places, while we're having this, that they can get help and have a lot of fun. And food, they're gonna have a lot of food there, so. Oh, well, it's for the community. I mean, it really is. Capsule, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that. Yeah, it is Capsule Garden. And that's gonna be a huge, really wonderful thing. Hamilton County Parks, that's really great. And thank you for the effort you've probably been making too. So anyway, everyone's welcome. No fee. That's important.
Thank you.
Yes.
Hey, Michael, you mentioned 710 acres. How much does Hamilton County have in Clay Township? You know, I mean, because I know Cox Hall do they have anything other than Cox Hall?
So they have Cox Hall, which is around, off top of heads, around 100. They have Prather Park, which used to be River Road Park. I think that's probably around 80-ish. And then there was a donation to them 2 years ago for it's undeveloped, not open to the public. I think it's off of 141st Street on the west side. So probably collectively they're around 200 plus or minus acres.
Okay, I'm just curious if we were at 1,000,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah,
just under?
Between the two, we're close. Between the two, we're close. And then if you factor in some of the properties that the city owns that, like Brookshire Golf Course, and in most communities, that would fall with the park system. It's a separate standalone department. You know, there's over 100 acres there. So, you know, Carter Green, which is managed by the street department, in the area around City Hall where the gazebo is. If you factor those properties in,
Right.
I think it's safe to say that we're over 1,000 total park-like acres throughout the community.
Wow, yeah. Like I say, in this township, you could pretty much walk to a park from wherever you live. And that's a great thing. That's a
is.
great thing.
It is.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Okay, a motion for adjournment.
I so move.
I second it.
All in
favor?
favor, say aye.
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 Joe. Thank you, thank everybody for coming. Appreciate it. We'll see you July 21st.
And come fly a kite.
As long as the hour.